Welcome to Forever Exiled. I am Justin, aka Tags.
I'm Tyler, Wrecker of Days. It's April, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta change something quick here.
What'd you do wrong?
Well, March 26th, 2019, PlayStation 4 came out.
I feel like we
but that's not happening. Yeah, so no, it's a different month, different celebration, Justin. Hooray, hooray. So anyway, go ahead, do your thing, do your intro.
Well, listen, big shout out and thank you to our patrons. We had a couple resubs this week. Thank you so much. If you're curious what Patreon is, you gotta get it. Get access to After Dark podcast after the podcast. We just keep talking. We talk about stuff and things. We do some drinking. We have some fun. And yeah, you get a card and a sticker. So, and a sexy supporter color. So it's all the things.
In Discord, not in real life.
No, you get it in real life.
Wouldn't that be great? This nice little some of those episodes that some of the cartoons do about people having like a theme as they walk through town.
Yeah, you can walk through
You get
town
one of those, guaranteed.
just knowing that you have the sexy supporter color. But anyway, thank you everybody for supporting the podcast. We really appreciate it. And here we are, 185 episodes later, or in.
Easy, man.
One of
Easy.
them. Yeah, it really is. No problem.
It has gone by really fast.
It has. It hasn't felt like it's been 185 episodes, which is cool.
Thank goodness, because we were worried our friendship was going to end if we started this and needed to see each other every week. Oh,
It's only gotten stronger. What's wrong? Tyler was just told off by his wife. And we're back.
we have company, and
now?
they wanted to grind coffee. Yeah, it's my
Oh.
wife's birthday this week, and so
Cool.
her parents came out to visit for the week,
Nice.
and they want to grind coffee, but they're being thoughtful, and
Oh, yeah, I can just
and
slightly
they wanted
hear.
to make sure that they weren't. Can you hear it?
But I don't know that it will be picked up.
No, I don't know. If
It's
it
pretty
will be.
quiet. So
So anyway,
Anyway.
they were being thoughtful.
185, here we are. And thanks for hanging out with us every week, people.
You know what, Justin?
Yeah.
11 years ago, you created your beta account.
Oh, yeah. I see your thing.
Your account creation there. That's
a week
that's
from
what I
now.
was doing. I took the wrong month before I was doing last month's stuff. But no, this coming week, April 29th, 2012, Justin created his Path of Exile account. You're an old timer, Just. You're old.
Been playing. This is the longest I've ever played any game, for sure. Path of Exile.
Like, what other game could you play this long unless you just play Dark Souls over and over and over
Yeah,
and over?
Yeah, there's not. You can't really. So anyway, that's cool. Yay. What are you at? You were like, what, 2 years behind me, I think?
I think I was 2014, but I don't think I actually started. I tried it and it
Oh,
wasn't
that's
what I was
right.
looking for. And so I think,
You didn't give it a
I
fair
think-
shake at the time.
well, it wasn't what I was looking for. It was more what I was into when I started playing again, which is a year and a half later.
Mm.
Timestamp, it'll be probably 2016, but it was about a year and a half later. Remember last week when we congratulated Bean on the mirror that they got?
Mm-hmm.
But I for some reason didn't write the time or date down, and we were a couple weeks late. It actually was a mirror drop from
Previous league, right?
the
okay.
second last day or something from the previous league, and I forgot to write down the notes. So I want to apologize to Bean for the delayed congratulations, because it's kind of a funny scenario where you get it on like the second last day of the league. But then when I was playing the other day this week, so we'll want to make sure I didn't miss this. The picture's really small. I can't see it. What is wrong with this program? There it is. Depreciate Land Daily, that hangs out with us on our global. I don't know who that is in
They're in our
terms,
guild too.
character names never, what?
They're in our guild as well.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I was in the guild chat and they posted that they had a mirror drop, which is pretty amazing. So congratulations, Depreciate.
Daily.
Was it?
Depreciate Land Daily. And they posted it in Global
Depreciate Land
2121,
Daily.
which is awesome.
Yes.
So congratulations.
So, awesome. Congrats.
Mm-hmm. How's your week, mon frere?
Well, hermano, I had a pretty good week.
Yeah.
We had company arrive earlier in the week, so I barely played any Path of Exile. I've tried to squeeze it in when I can, but want to be considerate and kind, spend some time. So my evenings have been catching up with them and chatting about whatever subject comes up. Watched a show or two yesterday, so that's been good. It's been good. So the normal day-to-day stuff, that I do to take care of the house and bills and house repairs, all that kind of crap throughout the day, and then hanging out with them in the evening. Son's baseball game got rained out yesterday, unfortunately, which my in-laws were very excited to see because they hadn't seen him play baseball before. So that'll be the only time they'll get a chance this time around. So maybe they'll come out again in the summertime just for fun. But anyway, other than that, it's been a pretty normal week. I mean, our weather is still quite low in the morning. It's still, it's
cold at night too,
5 degrees, but we're starting to get some pretty consistent days. So it's almost pretty much safe to do seeds, lawn seeds, garden seeds. And so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, so I've been paying attention to the weather, and it's been, if it wasn't frosting at night, this would have been the absolute perfect week and a half to plant grass seed because it's just been constant rain.
Mm-hmm.
But because the evenings have been too cold, didn't work out. But yeah, it was pretty normal. We've been hosting and we've been enjoying their company. So yeah, it's been good. How about you? How was your week?
It was good. What did I do? I tried to do, I was going to overseed this week on the weekend. And so I got up, I raked the lawn and then dethatched it. We had just had it aerated. So I dethatched it and then mowed it, I think like over 4 times, like just dropped it right down because I wanted it right down to the ground. And then I went to check my in-ground water sprinklers because the one farthest towards the road, it looked like it had maybe been driven over, like it was slightly down and a little bit under the grass. So I was just pulling up the grass around it just to make sure that when it pops up, it was going to be able to pop up fine. And when I pulled a piece of the grass out, a stupid grub popped out with it. And I was like, no, you gotta be kidding me.
Oh, man.
So I texted my guy who does a lot of my yard work and lawn work and stuff. And I'm like, I'm assuming this is a grub. He's like, yep. So then I had to switch because you can't really overseed at the same time as treating for grubs. So I had to go get some stuff to treat for grubs. Oh, I had sprayed too. I had sprayed for the weeds as well, because the spray that I use, you can overseed. So I'd done that first. But so then I had to treat for grubs and then water it in. And he suggested I wait 2 weeks. He said it was I should probably wait till a little bit closer to May anyway, just because of the way the weather's been. So I did buy the seed, so I'm ready to go. But I'm gonna have to wait at least another week before I do any overseeding. And Christina found my wireless adapter for my sprinklers, so that was really exciting. So
not many people in the world can say stuff like that.
Yeah, I was very
wireless
happy.
Adapter for your sprinklers. The sprinkler that got run over, did it get run over? Is it all right? Or did your brain fall out when you saw the grubs and you haven't even checked yet?
No, it did. Well, so I had to water in the grub treatment. So I did run the sprinklers, and the sprinkler still works fine as long as you don't try to straighten it. Like it comes up, and so now it's a bit of an angle that it's firing at, which is fine. It still hits everything. In fact, it goes a little bit further. But if you try to straighten it, it's definitely been damaged, but it's working fine. So I'm just going to leave it because I really don't want to dig it all up and replace the head. So for now, I'm going to leave it as is. Just going to hope that it's fine. But yeah, so anyway, got that done, which at least was nice to do. It's at least nice to do something with the lawn. I had a time to do it this weekend, so that worked well.
And you haven't really done lawn stuff since like last year. You didn't touch it.
I just didn't have time. No, I didn't even water it or anything. So that's why it's in such a state that it needs to be taken care of. So,
but it's fun to take care of things. Yeah, that you like. It's fun to take care of things that you like taking care of. You know what I mean? Like there's some chores or housework that just it's great. It's not a chore, but then there's other stuff where it's like, no, not going to happen.
I was excited to do the overseeding because I had time that week, like last weekend. So I thought, oh, this is it's not often where I feel like I have the time to do it. So I was like, yeah, this is the time to do it. So it was good that I got what I got done, but now it means next weekend I'm going to have to try and find some time to get not that it takes that long, but it's still like you want to make sure it's done right. And so yeah, next weekend hopefully I'm going to be doing some overseeding. And what else?
I guess it's a patience game, right? Because it's not like you can do anything about it. You do the thing, you wait 2 weeks, then you do the other thing, and if it doesn't work, then you got to do the thing again, and then wait some more.
And I'm not.
Were you so excited that you put your pumps on? Who did pumps? Reebok pumps?
Yeah, I don't have pumps.
Stupid.
I know. I've looked into buying them. I decided though this time I'm not going to roll. Like I was going to actually get some topsoil, do some leveling. I know the level of my back too, and I was like, if I start going into the leveling stuff, I'm going to really screw something up, and I cannot mess my back up to the point where
You have a leveler?
I do. It's actually really awesome. It's this, I don't know how to describe it. It's this big metal piece that's flat, but it's got like openings in it. And so you just drag it across the lawn once you put the soil or sand down or whatever you're using to level. And it just sort of like pulls the soil or sand as you're leveling it. So it does work really, really well, but it's pretty time consuming to do it. And it's heavy. So it's, like I'm going to stress my back out. So I decided not to do that, but I'm also not going to roll the seed in. Typically I would go and rent a roller and actually roll the seed in. I don't want to. I'm just going to hope that it takes in fine with just a good watering. So
and you typically don't want to do it the same year that you aerate anyway.
Well, it depends on what you're doing with the aerating. Because I was breaking up all the aeration and stuff, it would have been fine to roll it in when you aerate. If you were leaving, like, so typically if you were overseeding anyway, you wouldn't want to overseed while the aerations was not broken up and gone back into the ground. So
Yep.
So it would have been fine for my situation this time, but I just decided I didn't want to do it. So yeah. And then what else did we do this week? Work has been just interesting. It's been really interesting, and it finally seems like there's some light coming, so that's exciting. It's been
normalcy.
Yeah, that's normalcy is probably 4 months down the road, but there's at least a nice direction, so that's good. And what did we watch? We watched The Mandalorian, so we finished The Mandalorian this week, and we started a show called Succession, which a couple people have told me about, like my brothers mentioned it and stuff. So we started that show this week. I think I told you we finished The Last of Us.
I've heard very good things about it. But I haven't started it, and I probably won't. It seems like modern day Peaky Blinders.
Yeah, maybe much less violence. But it's like
I mean the era, yes, of course.
It's about a family and their big family situation and stuff. It's been interesting. The only thing I have a slight issue with is it's shot in a way to make it feel much more like you're there, and so the camera movements are a little bit it takes a bit for my head to get used to it. Like I don't get dizzy, but I do feel a little bit discombobulated sometimes while I'm watching it. So yeah. And then I feel like there was something else I was going to tell you, but I forgot to write it down. So
all right.
Yeah, it's kind of my thing. Yeah, it was, it was a good week though. And I'm looking forward to the next few weeks. So, and then I played Path of Exile actually this week, which I'm excited to talk to you about because
I am excited to have a lot of questions for you.
But yeah, that was my week. It was good. And let's get into it this week in PoE. What do we got?
All right. Well, let's see. Crucible Twitch highlights. Those are always fun. What happened there? There was Halifax got a mirror drop in Act 8, and that one's especially special because they were playing with zombies at the time as they were going through the ramparts. Zombies were there, and then the mirror drops. It's like a thing. It has to happen. So congratulations, Halifax. Then the community showcase. Oh yeah, there was some pretty cool div card tattoos in the community showcase this time around. It's pretty sweet.
Cool.
I was going to say ExileCon announced, GGG announced the race qualifier information for ExileCon coming up, like what you have to do to it, how you can easily get disqualified. You can't be an employee of GGG to participate or qualify in the race, but it was kind of fun to read through because there was, what else was there? Yeah, you have to broadcast the entire race.
That makes sense, sure.
Yeah, if there's just a small little blip of a moment, nope, can't do it. So anyway, yeah, so that was kind of neat. They came out with their concept art again this week, of course, which is always fun. But the thing that when I was looking through the concept art, I was like, oh yeah, they came out with that cool crafting bench in one of the supporter packs. Did you end up getting it?
No, I got...
Did you get any support packs?
I did. I got the one with the parrot, but not all the way up. And also, I I don't want to say that they tricked me, but I did get the $60 pack for that one. It's the Master Enchanter, but the selling point for me was my excitement to play Breach. And there was a Breach ring MTX, and I feel like I was scammed on that one because Breach is awful and I've completely unspec'd out of it. So I was excited because of the change to Breach, which is why I purchased that one. Honestly, that was actually the main reason why I went to the $60 one, because I was like, well, I'll just get the parrot, it'll be fun. But the main reason I got it was because of the Breach effect. And whatever, I did get to experience the Breach effect, but it was unfortunate. What did you get?
You got the very
one?
Delirium, didn't they? It's just like, it looks just like Delirium.
It looked cool. I was excited for it because I knew I wanted to focus on Breach. It's just Breach sucks. So
yeah, it was too bad. It's funny because they, in the $60 pack, for some reason we didn't talk about this when they first announced them, but in the $60 pack, they changed Breach to look like Delirium, right? But then in the $90 pack, they have a puppet hand.
That looks like the Breach.
That doesn't look like the MTX that you just got. It looks like the one, the old Breach, the default version, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but so you didn't want the hand enough to spend the extra 30 American bucks?
No. I didn't really want the hand. To be honest, there's already so much stuff happening on a screen. The hand is a fun idea, but you'd never see it. It's like, to me, it's almost like armor anyway now. You don't almost see your armor at all. But yeah, I did get the parrot. What did you get? You got the parrot, right?
Yeah, I got the parrot, and it was given to me, which was very generous of them. So thank you very much. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I keep forgetting that the what's it called? The massive crafting bench is there. Yeah, I wonder if it includes all the different crafts that you have. I forget what the video said. Like, because there's the crafting bench, and then there's what else is there for crafting bench? There's the Horticraft. Mm-hmm. I think that's it for actual crafting benches. I think that's it.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's the crafting bench, and then there's the standard crafting bench. I wonder if they're amalgamated in there, if there's different parts you can click on that bring up a different section.
It's different parts that you click on. But yeah, I didn't really care for that part either. It's cool looking, but wasn't worth the extra 30. So
sweet. And what else? Lots of patches, all hot fixes, which is nice. Xbox and PlayStation are up to date to the C patch. 21.0C. I'm excited to see, because there's been some big patches. So I'm excited to see what's the tipping point to go from 21.0X and Y to 21.0.1. What's going to be that one thing that's like, nope, that's it. 0.1. But anyway, so Xbox is up to date to hotfix 21.0C hotfix 1, and PC is 3 hotfixes beyond that. There was one fix in there that I don't get. Maybe they have a lot of the other game modes that I've just forgotten about or ignored, because I always thought they were temporary. But capture the flag,
that's their PvP thing.
Oh, it is a PvP thing. Okay, I don't even know where to start with PvP. Is that at the character creation screen?
Honestly, couldn't tell you.
Right?
It used to be Leo. It used to go to Leo.
I know, that's where I'm at. You go to Act 3, Leo's hanging up above the steps, and you're like, actually, Leo, I don't really want to do PvP. I would just like my damage over time crafts.
Right, exactly.
That's like, I just need to get to level 3 of PvP so I can unlock my dot crafts. Oh man, thank goodness that's gone, hey, when they revamped that. But yeah, so anyway, there was a bug that said fixed a bug and captured the flag, where the flag could sometimes not be interacted with. And I was like, interesting. So yeah, there's that. What else? Oh yeah, there was an announcement page with YouTube links for the most recent expansions that have come out. I think the last 4 going all the way back to Sentinel.
Okay, cool.
And I discovered, Justin, what Camille 2's name is.
Camille 2.
Camille did... That's exactly it. We did it. We discovered it. We knew. Camille did Sentinel, and then some guy that is no longer named Camille 2, but Michael James Collier. Collier?
Or Collier.
Yeah, that's right. Did the last 3.
Yeah, he's the new guy. It's awesome.
And so yeah, really cool. And really they all did fantastic. We're just joking around, Michael, if you're hearing us. We think you're fantastic too. But Yeah, no, it was nice. I was able to click on them again. And I mean, I like downloading every time they give them as actual files. I always like to download them and keep them on. And no, it's really cool. Really cool.
Sweet.
And just as a side note, I love what GGG has been doing with the recently asked questions thread, along with they have a live updates thread as well. So in the live updates thread, they'll say, we're posting this patch. So you can just pay attention to that. You don't have to pay attention even to just the announcements page, the dev manifesto page, and the patch notes page, which to me made sense. It didn't even cross my mind that you would want to go farther than that. But that's what this live updates thread does. Anytime they're making any type of post to the community, no matter which major, I don't know what they're called, major section it's in, they posted in that subthread. And so there was one thing in there that they commented on that isn't in like a post.
Okay.
So it was just above one of the patches that they put, but it said on April 19th, they posted this at around 8 p.m. our time, and it said, based on some concern from the community that certain rare monster modifiers seem to be appearing more frequently in 3.21, we have investigated the spawn rates of rare monster modifiers in 321 compared to 320 and can conclusively say that they have not changed. We are also assessing the balance of some of the more powerful rare monster modifiers. So I thought that was interesting because, I mean, I heard obviously what you had said, and our communities heard what you have said about Soul Eater specifically. I've seen a couple other comments in the community regarding that as well, which is, that's kind of cool. That you weren't alone in that, especially because there were people in our community that commented on the frequency of seeing them as well. Then there's some people that are like, I haven't noticed anything. And so that was kind of neat, but I guess there's other ones. And I was glad that they just posted that. That's kind of neat. Doesn't change how frequently we see Soul Eater, but
I can say conclusively that they're liars. Well, we're going to talk about our week in PoE, and so maybe I'll bring it up then.
Bring it up now. Who cares? It's next.
Well, so I ended up making a new character, played. I was ready to quit. I was really quite frustrated with the way that the game was working. With Crucible, all that kind of stuff. And so I decided to create a new character, and I was going to go Toxic Rain Raider. I just wanted to go super fast. I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do with it yet, but I wanted to go really, really quick. So I did. I will say that it does feel different getting a Soul Eater now the way that I'm playing than it did the way I was playing with my Fire Trap character.
Sure.
But that's also because I have not, I've moved away from some of the ways that I was wanting to play the game, which is just, building up tons and tons of mobs, which I sort of am doing. I don't know. It could be the fact that Toxic Rain is this damage over time. And it's not true. That's not true. There still have been situations where stuff just happens, but it doesn't feel as overwhelming as it did at the beginning of the league. So I don't know why that is. I'm not really sure what's different, but there is no way that first week experience was similar to past ones. I don't know if maybe there's just more rare modifiers that are spawning, more rares spawning, more chances of rares to have more modifiers. I don't know what it was, but there 100% was way more Soul Eaters when I was playing through that first week than I've ever experienced before. So
is this new character doing more damage, or is it more defensive? Like, talk globally about it. It's
definitely way more defensive. It's at 95% evasion, 100% spell cap, always phasing. Like yes, 100% it is. But I also haven't run into situations where I couldn't kill it, and I'm not really sure if that's just the damage over time, constantly, ticking at them. So it's not like if the damage stops. Because another thing that I don't actually like it at all in this game. You and I have talked about it before. The life regen is silly. So with a damage over time character, it's a little bit easier because they're constantly ticking with damage. Whereas with, Fire Trap has the damage on the ground, but I was clearing mostly with Frostblink. But I can't say. I honestly don't know what the difference is, but I don't believe that it's exactly as it was in 320. I mean, they know their numbers or whatever, but something was weird for me in the beginning of this league. I've never had it like that before. So
also, maybe it was map base, or I don't know.
No, it wasn't specific. There was no way I could figure out where it was happening specifically. So yeah, I mean it's good that they looked into it, but if they looked into it, then that means there had to have been quite a few people saying it. And if you have quite a few people saying it, I don't think people would you couldn't have a bunch of people just making that up. So sure. I'm not sure. I don't really know what would have been potentially causing it, but yeah, I don't know. There's some combos that again, you and I have talked about this before. This is an AN conversation, but some modifiers should not spawn together, and Soul Eater should not infinitely go up and never roll off.
Soul Eater with Leech?
Yeah, Leech or Life Regen, get out of here. Right. I don't want to have to see, like, you and I have talked about, we've talked about map modifiers. So we wish map modifiers didn't affect us. They affected the monsters. It bothers me that I have to take a point in my tree to fight a modifier that could roll on a monster in regards to less life regen. Yeah. That's silly to me. The tree is for me. The tree is to make my character stronger. Why on earth do I have to take a node on the tree to affect a modifier that could roll? It's backwards thinking, right? I just don't like that. It's not even the same as like, okay, maybe I need to take something that makes me immune to corrupted blood, that's still fine because the monster is doing corrupted blood to me. I need to find a way to defend against it. Totally get it. The idea that there's a modifier on the tree that you've kind of feel like you need, or you have to pick one of like two skills to counter the silliness of that life regen, to me is just, I don't like it. I think it's really silly. I would be more than happy to see some of them go away, but then you can't combine them too. Like you can't put Soul Eater, like you said, with Life Leech or Life Regen, or it's not a fun way to play the game. So
no. Random still needs rules. Yeah. Random still needs boundaries and restrictions, and it doesn't matter if the user's aware of them, but you're thinking about the quality of life and the enjoyment of your game. And once your game gets to, and again, I'm having a great time, but there are certain circumstances where it's like, this is stupid, right? And I see sometimes it's easy to get caught up in the idea that I have a solo character and I should be able to do whatever. Sometimes I need to remember that I'm a defensive character. Right. And I'm not doing a lot of damage, or I need a little bit more investment into my weapons to get the damage that I would normally get because now I have a much more hardcore mentality than I used to. So, sometimes it's just a wake up call. And I guess sometimes with GGG, they have to filter through, is this person just have different expectations for their build? Is this legitimately like that? And no matter what the circumstance is for us, I think that post that they did is fantastic. They did the data, they did the research. There's no fluctuation or imbalance in their numbers, whatever it is. Like they think it's normal, they think it's the same, but they're also looking into changing the frequency of certain modifiers. Hopefully that also includes some rule combinations as well. There was a time when I was playing, I was down here on PC, I had about an hour that I was able to play, and I didn't feel like I was being rude to my in-laws. My father-in-law was on his laptop, my mother-in-law was knitting, so I'm like, all right, I'll squeeze in this hour before I gotta go pick up kids. And I'm a drop guy, you know what I mean? Like, I hate maps that have 1,000 chests because those chests are meant to be opened, and I feel like I'm cursing myself if I don't open them. I don't open them because I want to play the game, but like whatever those maps are that have 1,000 chests, I'm just like, oh, what am I missing? What am I missing? So especially with rare monsters, I do not leave a rare monster behind. I would rather use up all 6 portals than leave a rare monster behind. And so anyway, I come across a Soul Eater. I didn't even realize there was a Soul Eater in the pack until it was the last one standing, and it was going absolutely nuts. And again, it was the one that looks like the carry-on golem. And so I look and I stand there for a few seconds, looking, get used to all of its different attacks and skills. And I'm like, no, I can do this. So I put my controller down and I go upstairs and I make myself a cup of coffee. But it's not like a K-cup, right? Like I got to grind the beans. Then I'm boiling the water and I'm waiting for the water to boil. It's drip coffee. So then I put it in the cone and then I slowly pour it once the water's boiled. I come back down and the fight was done. But it probably took the whole time that I was cutting coffee. You know what I mean? So anyway, Soul Eater. Hey?
I don't mind, like you said, if your character is still growing and you're figuring it out and maybe a fight's going to be longer. I just don't like when a fight can become just not doable.
Sure.
Like yeah. Anyway, whatever. I don't know that I appreciate when they post anything. I think it's good for them to give information, but I don't believe them. I think something was different. Something is different. I'm not sure what it is, but
okay.
Yeah. Anyway.
Well, let's talk about your characters. You went from an elementalist fire trap character that was very successful, but you were, for whatever the reasons were that we can't quite pinpoint, I
didn't like it.
Frustrating. Was it the play style? Was it just the experience of interacting with the game? It almost made you quit.
Yep, I didn't like the league. I didn't like the mechanic in the league. I was really disappointed with Breach, which is what I had spent a huge amount of my points on. And so what I did do, I kind of sat for a little bit and was trying to figure out, am I going to play something else? Because I did look into a couple other games and starred a few or waitlisted a few just to see if they went on sale. But I was thinking about Path of Exile and I was like, what is it?
You know what a sale is?
Sometimes I wait. Sometimes I wait.
It
depends on the game.
Hey, thrifty.
Yep. You got to be careful with some of these things, especially a game that I'm going to turn on and play for like a couple hours. But
says the guy with his, what was it? Your wireless adapter for your sprinklers.
That just makes sense, Ty.
Justin, it's one of the
open up my phone, hit a freaking button. I'm watering my lawn.
Oh, and you know what? I love that. I'm poking fun, but I dream. I'll go one day to a third world country again, build some churches, try and start or continue an education. I'll go and do like very basic things that we take for granted, and I'll go and help, and then I'll come back to my lawn one day and I'll be like, yeah, I don't feel bad about this. If I had a wireless lawn adapter. Anyway, go ahead.
So I was thinking about Path of Exile, and I was like, what am I not liking? What do I want to do? What's fun? What do I enjoy? And so I decided to go Toxic Rain Raider, which I've played before. It's very, very fast. I do like it. I love constantly 100% phasing. You're always phasing. You can buff yourself while phasing. You have huge effects of onslaught. You always have onslaught. And so,
which is a little bit more difficult to get now because there's no support for onslaught. Like, where else do you get it outside of uniques and the Raider, right? Onslaught support is gone.
Was it removed entirely, or just you can get it later?
It's gone.
Oh, okay. Well, so I knew I wanted to play fast, and I always have liked heist. Moving fast and phasing is amazing in heist. So yes, I started playing heist, and then if you want to play in heist, you have to get contracts, and I am not interested in buying stuff like that. So I respec my tree a couple times. Currently, I'm actually playing with Wandering Path. And
Wandering Path buddy. We started off as elementalist buddies, and now we're Wandering Path buddies. I'm curious. I've done
Wandering Path a few times, and I do like it just because it's really easy to sustain maps. It's really easy.
Go.
Yep.
Yeah, very go.
And I'm not actually. So here's what I've kind of realized in this particular league. For me currently, to enjoy it, I'm skipping everything, every single thing. I'm not walking through a breach. I might do an expedition, but probably not. I'm literally not touching anything except smuggler caches to get the contracts and the grand heists and markers. And I'm not even killing bosses. I'm basically jumping between Jungle Valley and Beach because it's really easy to sustain those two based on Wandering Path and connected maps. And I'm only killing the boss on the 8th time that I run it, just to get the invitation that I'm selling, because I'm not going to I don't want to do them. And all I'm doing is playing in heist and running through maps. I think I'm 94 currently. Like, I've just leveled, because it's one thing that's really fun when you're playing super high evasion, full suppression, phasing, ailment immune. You don't die unless you stop moving, and the goal is to not stop moving, so I don't tend to die. So I'm 94, and I'm actually having a ton of fun. Good. Because I do not like Crucible. I was really excited for it, but I don't like it. I tried to go, okay, if I'm going to play Toxic Rain Raider, I'm going to want a bow. I'm going to want the modifiers. You can buff up your bow. It's so fun. I just started throwing I actually changed my filter to just show me thicket bows, and I'll just throw them into the Crucible each time I do a map.
What's
see
with the
what modifiers
bow?
it runs.
Why the thicket bow?
Well, it's just an easy one. It's just I don't really care. There's too many freaking things to go, and I think thicket bow has
Bows
one
are
of the
like
higher
that.
attack.
They have so many separate implicits.
Yeah,
There are a lot.
So I just threw them into the Crucible. I would hit them with the first level, take a quick look at the tree. I started doing that, and I had bought a bow that had a decent tree already on it. You know, it had like it was like oh, now I can't even remember, but it affected my chaos modifiers and stuff. So it was good. Like for a damage over time chaos build, they worked great. I used PoE a bit to like, you know, figure out what were some of the good modifiers, and because you can add Crucible modifiers to them. But trying to even do that, I started to realize this is where I'm actually losing interest. I'm bored. I'm stopping at this little circle. I have to put it, you know, select the bow, hold the button down and wait for it to fill up, kill the mobs, which they're not the end of the world. One fun thing that is fun with a Toxic Rain Raider, or just a very fast character in general with damage over time, is it's the epitome of circles. Like you do circles around big groups of mobs.
Yes.
And it's almost like herding them into a smaller circle, right? Like as you go in circles,
right,
you're just getting smaller and smaller. But I could kill the mobs. I was, you know, doing these things to the thicket bows, and I was realizing like I'm not enjoying this. This isn't fun. Every time I get it, then I'm right clicking, I'm looking through it. And then I was talking with people in Discord. You know, I said, if I've got this tree and I want to get this tree, but I want this modifier, how am I doing it? How does this? I can't figure out what the math or the determination is. It sounds like, from my understanding, is it's just like you slam them together and it's 50-50 chance. You might get the modifier you want. You might lose that modifier. The tree is going to I just realized that wasn't enjoyable for me. It slowed the game down so much, and I wasn't feeling like I was getting anything out of it. And so I started just going heavy into heist, and I'm having so much fun. I hate leveling up rogues, but once they're leveled up and once you start getting them gear, it is so much fun to do them, to do the grand heists. You can open all the stuff. They're fast at their job speed. Like, it's just enjoyable. The only thing I've realized this week is I don't have a goal anymore. And it's weird to not feel like there's something I'm aiming for. Like in the beginning, it was like, okay, I'm going to get currency. I'm going to, you know, maybe upgrade my stuff. Of course, there's always still areas for me to upgrade, but now I'm sitting on boatloads of currency. And I'm like, well, I don't really, unless I have an idea for another build that I want to play. At this point right now, I'm just playing to play, which is fine. But I don't know if it's sad. I'm not really sure, but it's, I was thinking about it this week. Like what has given me enjoyment in this game at this point is to just skip all content.
You're just playing standard.
Well, yeah. I mean, besides I guess the drops, because the Crucible stuff does affect it, but I'm just going to buy that from someone else. I'm going to let somebody else figure it out and let them go through the pain of the Crucible stuff and the crushing things together and do that, whatever. I'll build up currency and then I'll just buy it from you. I don't want to have to deal with, because I don't get it. It's way too slow. It's not fun to me. But yeah, it was a weird realization this week that I'm playing Path of Exile to just play killing a bunch of mobs, because, you know, I am playing growing hordes with wandering paths, so I'm throwing scarabs on just so that there's more, but I don't actually focus on killing all the mobs. I'm just running through doing the Exarch, the red towers, just to get lots of like just different random currencies, plus I can handle all the modifiers on there. But
it was the blue ones that are more likely to drop the rare currency, right? Like you were doing blue when you were trying to get your divine drops, right?
Yeah, you're just hoping for the
red
divine
is the
tower.
One that has
red
more
gives you
actual
all the currencies. Yeah, that's right. Like you're getting the chaos, the chisels, the sextants, like all that, all the normal currency outside of divines is through the red one, but the divine tower comes from the blue one. But I don't want to stop and read. That's the best part. I'm literally just running in Jungle Valley. You never get the boss modifier on the tower because the boss hasn't spawned yet, so you can I just click the one that affects what is it, the one that affects the mobs, not the one that affects me, and I just click it. It's fine. I just do it all the time.
Why aren't you killing the boss though? You mentioned before you were only killing the boss every 7 or 8 maps. Why don't
every
you bother?
28 maps?
Why don't
just
you bother?
There's no benefit. There's literally no benefit to killing the boss. I'm not getting, it's not like bosses, maybe bosses have the potential to drop out this slightly higher tier map, but I don't actually need that when I'm doing a tier 15 Jungle Valley. I don't need, I totally heard your Discord there. I don't need to kill the boss. So the only reason I'm killing the boss is every 28th just to get the invitation, which sells for half a divine. And so I get it, sell it, and move on. But literally the only reason
the Maven invitation, like a normal Maven invitation.
No, the one to kill Syrian Exarch.
Okay.
That you get every 28. But I'm only in the maps to get contracts for heist. That's it. I'm literally just there to run through, kill stuff, and I'm still leveling because I'm not dying and I can still kill stuff, but I'm there to get the heist contracts to then take back to heist and run through. It's also, I think I mentioned last week, one of my frustrations with Path of Exile just in general right now is I can't just sit down and play. Like, it takes a lot of focus. And if you're juicing a map and doing certain mechanics like Expedition, for example, I got to clear around it, then I got to stop, I got to think, plan it out, blah, 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 which I actually do like because there's a reward to it. But at this point right now, I can hop on my computer when I have 15 minutes and just play. I can run through some maps, pick up some contracts, or I can go into heist and run some heists. You know, like yesterday I had to run to a meeting and I knew I had to leave in like 13 or 14 minutes. So I was like, I'm just going to do a couple heists. I like that. That's fun for me because I can just pop on and play for a little bit.
I love that because for me, I'm like, I have 30 minutes. Can I do a map in 30 minutes?
That's totally true too, right? Because when you are playing certain mechanics and certain ways of playing, maps aren't what they used to be. So maybe that's just why, maybe it's just where my headspace is at. But this week has been a lot of fun because I've just been like, screw the Crucible mechanic, screw all of the mechanics. I just want to play heist. I want to go fast and I want to have the option to just sit down and play. And that has been actually a lot of fun. I think, yeah, I was chatting with Josh because he was laughing at the idea that I was selling stacked decks. He's like, oh my God, I love opening stacked decks. I'm like, I have like 500 stacked decks. I am not opening 500 stacked decks. I sold them for like almost 5 divines. And I messaged the guy, I was like, your poor wrist. Like, how are you going to open up 500 freaking stacked decks? But yeah, anyway, for me, it's been really fun. I really like the tankiness of I mean, it's not, I don't know, is that tanky? It's not. It's evasive and phasing and spell suppression. I don't know if that's considered tanky, but I don't die, which I love. I can run super, super fast and I can just sit down if I only have 15 minutes or if I have it 2 hours. Like, it doesn't make a difference. And that's enjoyable for me. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I've literally skipped everything. I'm not touching Crucible. I'm not touching Ritual. I literally am not touching anything except the Smuggler Cache. So
well, that's cool. I'm glad the experience has gotten better for you. It's too bad that it is ignoring the temporary content, but I mean, at least it's not the core game. Like, that's one of the things I want to say is you're enjoying the game for what it is. Now that you've removed your goals and it's not about overthinking or hoping or hype, it's just, this is the game. So it is a testament to the game in a way that the core experience is a lot of fun. Right. Mm-hmm. So they come out with a temporary league. It's not your thing and you're still having a great time.
But I'll still benefit from it because I can buy it from someone else.
Yes.
So for other people, I get that people are loving Crucible. I've heard people talk in our Discord that love it. They love the trees, the planning them out. I think that's awesome. It's good. There's no way to create a piece of content that every person likes. Maybe I haven't spent enough time with it, but I just don't like it. It's not for me.
If you don't like episodes 1 and 2, you're not going to bother with episodes 3 and 4, no matter how much it gets better. So same kind of thing, right? You don't like how it starts off. You don't like your interaction with it for the first week. Why would you keep pumping in time? Just ignore it and have a great time. I'm kind of ignoring Crucible as well because it's, but not for the same. Like I have no problem with content that I need to interact with or stop. Like, I don't care that I have to hold the button down or anything like that. We have different preferences there, but on a contrary side, I don't like Expedition because of how much it's all. I feel like I'm doing Harvest when Harvest was a league and you had to like manipulate your garden and min-max. This is kind of what I feel like Expedition is a little bit, and so it doesn't interest me at all. But I also think that Ward is stupid with enemies. I think it's kind of dumb.
Play damage over time and it doesn't even matter.
Right. So
chaos damage over time.
But for me, when it comes to Crucible, I'm not ignoring Crucible, but I am, because the only because it's RNG on top of RNG on top of RNG on top of RNG, I'm playing my normal way. And basically, if I have a shield that interests me or a convoking one that interests me, then I'll throw it in. But I have yet to still, despite that. So I am skipping a bunch when I don't have a convoking one that matches the item level that I want, or an Archon shield or an Ezomite shield that interests me. So there are going to be maps where I don't have those, but when I do have them, I'm still not getting anything that interests me, right? Like I'm keeping the ones that have crappy rolls just in case I get an amazing tree. No, not getting a tree that matters to me. Keeping ones with amazing rolls. No, not getting a tree. So I'm interacting with it, but I'm extremely apathetic. But I do want to pass on, Justin, that I do want to be a little bossy, and I want to tell you not to get used to the Raider, because that's my only hope of catching up to you ever. Is if I start playing the Raider and you're not the Raider. You playing with 250% movement speed means guaranteed no Tyler
it's
play.
So much fun. It's so fun.
So please don't get used to it. Please find something annoying with the build or glitchy. Please get bored of it this league so that you're not tempted to do it each league. Because I've been, because of company, but also because I did a lot of testing for this Reaper build last league. Like, it was just a lot of the same build over and over and over. And I still really like the build, but my theory crafting in my head doesn't stop. And so at the beginning of the league, we were talking about the Elementalist and Reaper, which is what I've been playing. It's the primary build that I posted. But I've got that. I've solidified that. That's really min-maxed, right? And so then I start thinking about, we started talking about the champion at the beginning of the league, and I'm like, oh man. Oh, just the ideas that I keep coming up with and how great it is. But then there's like that slow-mo, like just that emphasis on curses and temporal chains just keeps eating at me that I'm not doing it. And then you
haven't played anything like that in a while.
No, it's been a long time, but it's still my favorite way to play, like completely slowing down, not just movement speed, but the action speed of enemies. But every time I go with curse efficiency, it's such a lot of travel. And even if you start as the occultist, even if you start off as the witch, and then, so am I going to use a skill to trigger these? Am I going to self-cast it? Am I going to reduce the effectiveness slightly with blasphemy? That's such a soul-sucking, conflicting thing for me, is blasphemy or no blasphemy. But then it's also because the mana reservation nodes for curses are really spread out. So anyway, it's been quite tough for me these past few weeks, but I've been really enjoying the theory crafting in my head because I haven't been playing as much this past week. But then for some reason, and I don't know why, but chill came back into my head. Well, it's the exact same thing as temporal chain.
Okay.
Right. And so temporal chains has that, I'm always caring about how it impacts the strongest of enemies, right? So unique enemies. So it's, 18% less action speed, self-casted, without any investment, right? That's temporal chains. With full investment on the tree for curse efficiency, you're getting up to 27%. That's self-casted without items like, I don't know, what's it called? Dying breath, right? Then you get up to slowing unique enemies by 27% after the penalties. And I'm like, okay, well, that's a lot of investment for that. Is that worth it? Because then that's the same for Enfeeble, right? 27% less damage, that they deal and that kind of stuff. And I'm like, is it worth it? But then I started thinking about chill, and I'm like, wow, well, chill, you can get chill up to 30%. Maybe I could just focus on damage and hitting really hard. And then I'm not like spreading my defenses thin by trying to focus on curse efficiency, right? So then I start thinking about chill, and then it's been forever since I've done anything chill. Like in the early 3s, I had a CI Vortex build that was all about curses and blasphemy and all that kind of stuff. But it's been a long time since I played it. And so then I start thinking about different things like, okay, well, what kind of chill options are there? I've ignored it for so long because there's nothing in the game there's nothing on like the vanilla version of the game that I can tell where, how do I put this? So for example, the Elementalist has that shock node, and the shock node is enemies. When I hit an enemy, enemies are shocked. They take 15% increased damage. So I'm like, okay, that's great. That's good for minion builds, right? Because all I need to do is hit the enemy, and then the minions themselves are doing increased damage per se, because the enemy's taking 15% increased damage. I'm like, okay, well then, the champion has something similar to that in a way as well. Enemies take more damage, or then they have more accuracy. And so there's a few things. The raider has reduced resistances in a nearby aura around them if you take that specific node. So there's some ways to go about it, but chill and colds have specifically never really had anything that works well with minions. You know what I mean? Like if you go on the occultist and you go down the cold path, there's nothing that actually benefits your allies. It's all about you and your damage. Whereas if you go down the chaos path for the occultist, you have that wither that ticks every 15 seconds or every second, and it lasts for 15 seconds. So that benefits your allies, right? You put poison on your allies and that wither impacts their damage. So I'd never looked into chill since, I don't know, it's been a long time because of all these changes, because there hasn't really been anything that fit my minion meta. And I started looking, okay, now the elementalist, that one node, instead of taking the shock node, you can take the
cold one, chill one.
Yeah, but it increases the slow potential to 40% instead of 30%.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm starting thinking, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, and then I'm starting to look into minions that do cold damage, and there aren't any. It's so difficult to convert without a specific unique to convert damage to cold outside of hatred. And the only other one that I could think of was if I did a golem build with the ice golem.
What's wrong with running hatred?
Nothing. It's just my auras are typically defensive, right? Like I'll have determination, purity of elements.
Well, this kind of makes hatred slightly defensive.
It does, right? So yeah, that's one thing that and my zombies always had hatred long ago, long ago. And yeah, oh man, that was that was long. That was like before 310. And so anyway, so been doing lots of thinking in regards to that, and how could I make it a minion build? Would I just end up making it a solo build but taking spiritual aid? Would I completely ignore minions? Because right now I'm playing a minion build, but I'm not doing any slow, and that eats me. Like I have a really good build, really good builds, but I'm not using any slow, and that eats me. So now if I go and do a slow build, but I'm not using minions, I know I'll really enjoy the build. I know it'll be solid, but it'll eat at me because I'm not using minions. So
have you ever played a build where you don't have any minion at all, even a golem?
Yeah, my Righteous Fire build doesn't have a golem.
Didn't use the stone golem?
No, and then my Vortex curse build that I made long ago, it lasted for quite a while, quite a few years. That didn't have any either. But then so that build morphed to animate weapon. So
that's a lot of minions.
Yeah, annoying minions because you're dependent on a drop, and it completely modifies. Anyway, so that's where I've been this week, man. I've been theory crafting, and I have done some sneaking around and playing, right? Like I played for an hour when my in-laws were here when it was appropriate. There was an evening where I had maybe an hour. I think it was after we raced on Monday, which was a lot of fun, by the way. But I had about an hour, and I wasn't really, I don't know. I'm like, I should just make sure that my filters are working on console, and I should respec my 3 characters on console to, what I currently have them, and see how the zombie character plays, because it's a lot more defensive for them and myself. And so, yeah, respec those and put the new tree up, right? I wanted to see, I used on standard, I respec my Atlas passive tree to what I'm currently trying to do on PC to see if it was any good. And I really, really liked it. So in the past, the last 2 respecs I've done for 320 and then 319, when I do the respec on console and I don't like it, I'm like, oh man, see, like PC is like my testing ground, but it's so I'm a slow leveler, I'm a slow mapper, and so I don't get to the point where I'm like, yes, this is or isn't working. I'm still getting there, and then I'm like, so then I kind of get
your
impatient.
Progression right now in Crucible.
I mean, when a red map drops, I can do it no problem. Like I'm level 88 or something like that, but all my gems are level 19 for the most part. So I can do all the things. I can do stuff, but there's still probably 10 whites I haven't done, at least 10 or 15 yellows I haven't done. So yeah, but it's good. It's easy. I'm really enjoying it. I'm still playing the Elementalist Reaper on console, but it's like that GIF where it's like that guy and girl holding hands, but he's looking back and he's going, ooh, look at that, looking at that other girl walking by, like checking out her ass or whatever it is. And then his girlfriend's like looking at him like, oh my goodness. That's what it's like when I play PoE, because I put so much thought and effort, and I'm a slow player, so that by the time I'm there, I'm already thinking of another build. And so I'm really trying to get the slow-mo with minions to really work. But I'm thinking elementalist, because then maybe I could do golems, but that golem builds do require items. Like they're pretty weak offensively without increasing your golem limit past 4. And nothing wrong with that, because I could just stand there and then I don't have to care at all about survivability because they're there. But the raider's so nice. Like there's that extra damage aura that they have, like the -20 resist. Is it exposure for the raider, or is it lowering resists? I know they're the same thing, but one stacks and one doesn't. So is it exposure, or is it just lowering resists?
Lower the resist. Awesome. -20% of those resistances.
So you can still use Wave of Conviction. And
it's kind of weird because it says nearby enemies have fire, cold, and lightning exposure while you have phasing, applying a -20% to those resistance. It is exposure. So it is exposure, yeah. Applying a -20% resistance.
Okay. Well, so yeah, so there is that, but then, maybe I want the slow to go up to 40% instead of 30%. So I played with POB this week and was playing around with Vortex, just seeing what I needed to do with hypothermia and bone chill and Vortex, and see how hard that would hit, because there's no information in the game that tells me how that dot chills. Like a dot isn't a hit, but chill is based on a threshold, right? Like how much life based on the threshold did you take off on that hit? But now we're using a dot, and you use something like Arctic armor, or you use something like what's another one where it tells you what the chill is, kind of like what's that, the skitterbots. It tells you what the chill is, but with Vortex it doesn't. And so because it's a dot, I had some questions about it. What's it going to be? Kind of trusting POB on this one. And so they said it got up, like just with those few supports, not with a lot, got up to 34% chill. So then it kind of gets exciting for me, because I'm like, okay, is that legit? Like that's on a boss? That's 34% on a boss? Are we sure? Because that's huge. And then I put on an uninvested in temporal chains, and I've already got an 18%. Even if it's the lower, what's the lower percentage? Hang on, let me bring up my thingy thing. Yeah, temporal chains base efficiency is 18%, but with blasphemy, it's 14.5%, so 14%. So still though, if you're going like 35% with your Vortex chill, then you add 15% on that. It's nice, right? All of a sudden you're at 50%, and I didn't have to invest into curse efficiency. Obviously, temporal chains doesn't help me with any offense. I'd be better off doing anything else, including enfeeble, but thinking, but I get the slow. Like if I was to fully invest into temporal chains with curse efficiency, I'm getting 27% if that's self-casted. And that's like the same amount of nodes that I would be able to put into damage.
Yeah. While also getting a defensive bonus.
Right. And the whole thing for me with temporal chains is, though I would love for impending doom to work with temporal chains where it adds that hit of chaos damage, the curse is going to last like 20 something seconds. And I want them to stay slowed. I don't want to keep replacing it. And impending doom, if you use the same curse, it doesn't replace the curse. It overrides the curse. It's different. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So you don't get impending doom when I keep casting a new cast of the same curse over and over. So, that's where I'm at. That's fun. We can thank my in-laws for the torment that I have in my mind regarding the joy of Path of Exile.
Somebody wrote in Global 2121 this week, I remember laughing, that they said POB is the real end game for PoE.
Yeah.
Which is true. It's fun. That's a huge part of the game.
Yes, it is.
Doing that.
And I like doing it without the numbers. I like making choices without the numbers. I love doing it with the numbers and seeing what it's like. Like it's just, it's so much fun. Like I do absolutely love that about this game, is that you have so much fun with the game when you're not playing it.
Mana when you're in that theory thing.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Figuring out mana is where I lean on POB heavily. Like how can I make these auras fit? What can I do? Yeah, that's definitely my biggest spot. It's not so much damage, because I don't know, damage is tough. If I look at my Toxic Rain on POB, it's like, it looks pathetic. You wouldn't even think it was a build you could actually play.
Right.
but it does just fine. But for the mana side of it, and evasion, spell suppression and elemental avoidance, I like that too. So, but yeah, mana is my big one. Figuring out how I could fit in, whatever auras I want to do and still be able to cast. I was talking to you about that actually, I think on Monday when we were playing.
Yeah.
I was racking my brain, and there were some people in chat that helped out a lot too. And that was actually super helpful for me to then on Tuesday or whenever I next played, go into it with. So I think it was Tuesday, because I think after we finished racing, I went to bed. I was tired, but I remember laying in bed thinking like, okay, so I could try doing this with my helmet, or I could, it's fun. And then I was excited on Tuesday to get on and see if I could figure it out. So
that's pretty cool.
It's nice when that's your thought towards the game, because that's not where I was at last week.
Yeah, totally.
Last week I was like, well, I'm playing something else.
Would have been early, that's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's good.
Yeah, that was it. And hang on. There's still a whole bunch of stuff that we pushed from a previous week, but I think we're gonna have to push it again.
Do you want to pick like two?
No.
Why don't we knock out two things? We got some time. I got a little bit of time. Let's do it.
Well, I was joking with people in general 2121 about our name. Like, I actually really like our name. I think it's really creative. Forever Exile.
You mean Justin and Tyler? Oh,
yeah, that's right. I just love your name, Justin. And we were joking about having like a mishmash of our names. Like, we always use Titan, right? Because Justin and Tyler, so we switched around, make it Titan. But you know how other podcasts, whether they exist now or not, other PoE podcasts have typically done the name of a div card that's pretty powerful.
There have been some,
right? Like Faded Connections was one.
Faded Expectations.
Yep.
I know there's more.
There was
trying
two.
To be a
there
dick,
was
but there
no. Yeah, there were a couple more, and so everything except for like wraeclast, really. And so I was joking, like, wouldn't it be funny if somebody started a Path of Exile podcast, or we started a Path of Exile podcast, and it was the Carrion Crow, the most ignored div card ever, but everybody's always trying to be.
Is that the Carrion Crow? Well, I know it. What is it? That's not the no, it's not the 5.
No. I love that one. I actually have that one ding pretty good. I love the one that gives you 5 random currency. No, this one's pointless.
That one I love. The 5 random currency, because one day I'm getting mirrors. One day
it is going to happen. Yeah, no, this one, you get magic life armor.
Oh, yes. Okay. That's right.
Yeah. That poor person that spent money to have that.
Well, they might not have been. That could have been just one they made.
Could have been default. Yeah. So anyway, the Carrion Crow. And so anyway, I thought it would be funny for a podcast or us to have like do the complete opposite. Exactly what you're getting.
The scholar.
We were joking. That was the one that I originally came up with, and then I forget who it was. I didn't write it down, but they mentioned no, the Carrion Crow, and I thought that was better. But yeah, I originally had the scholar because we secretly it's like we're a diamond in the rough. People don't like it, but all of a sudden, yeah, you really do like it. You get those 40 scrolls you don't have to pick up.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Forever Exiled worked well.
Yes, it did. Let's see. In the previous weeks, I had a very busy PoE week. I'd made a lot of posts, but I can't find the thing. Well, anyway, let me bring this one up instead. So you remember there was a while ago when I was talking about there was, what was it? Spell resistant. There was an enemy mod that was spell resistant, I think it was. And we were talking about how like overpowered that was. Like, I would love to be able to
I do remember
spell
that
resistance myself. So I kind of posted, I'm like, what is this? I think I mentioned it on Reddit, and very kind trash caster said that spell resistant is actually spell suppression. That's all it is. There's not like spell resistant is a few different types of defenses. It specifically is just spell suppression.
Oh.
Why? So yeah, well, that's exactly my question. So anyway, I double checked with them. I'm like, are you sure that it's not just anything else? I assume so. I mean, people seem to know stuff that wherever it comes from. So but it said spell suppression, and I'm like, in my head, I'm like, why not call it spell suppression if that's the case?
Maybe at that time they didn't have spell suppression. Like
that's
at the
garbage.
Time that
that's garbage. That's garbage.
I'm just saying, maybe that's why. Because I don't think spell suppression has definitely not existed forever. So maybe at the time that they had a spell resistant mob, there was no such thing yet as spell suppression in the game.
Gotcha.
I'm trying to give them some
I
credit.
don't think so. No. What else? Oh, I want to
One more.
congratulate the wiki. And this should have been done on our league launch episode, but the wiki was updated before the league started. And I love that. Like, screw the 3 days or 2 days before league start for anyone new coming into the game. Like, forget that. Because there were new implicits made for some weapon-based types and classes. They changed. I forget which classes they were. I think wands was one of them. Daggers. I forget. Anyway, there were some implicit changes, and the wiki, I went to go like make sure that my filter was all ready to go. But the wiki updated it like 3 days before the league actually came out. Didn't care. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Whoever made that choice, I hope you didn't get any beef for it, because man,
Why would you get beef for it? Isn't that
because
a good
it's
thing?
not the wiki's about the current state of the game. And in the past, the wiki was always slightly behind on league launch because they didn't apply the new
But aren't they
league
connected
changes
to GG now?
No, GG just pays for it. There's no
Well,
internal
there's gotta be
communication.
some. Really?
No, that's what people have been asking for forever, and that's what GGG
Oh, I
said.
thought there was.
No. So, and well, even if it was, then it definitely wouldn't happen because GGG doesn't change anything in that regards until the actual
Yeah,
league
that's
launch.
true.
So anyway, I want to congratulate them on that.
That's awesome.
And I
Sweet.
guess that was my last thing.
Nice. I actually just realized I do have something I'm going to bring up with you PoE related, but I'm going to save it for after dark because it's not a fully sensical thing, and it also makes me look slightly stupid. So I don't want to bring it up right now.
Oh, I love it when you look
so-
stupid.
Yeah, I'll save it for after dark. Let's wrap this up. 185 Forever Exiled. I am Justin, aka Tags.
I'm Tyler, Record of Days.
Don't forget to hit that 5 stars if you don't mind on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, because we love your faces for it. And patrons, will see you in After Dark. Everybody else, we'll see you next week in 186. If you're looking for more information, you can find it down below. We got a website, foreverexiled.com. We're on Twitter, foreverexiled82. We have a very fun Discord, which you should pop in and say hi. And patrons on the way to support the podcast, you'll find them down below. Bye.
I gotta go to the bathroom. So bye.
Of course you do.